So many people are moving to Texas from California, from Portland, from Washington, and Illinois. So why is that? What are the reasons? Today we're talking about California to Texas and the five things that you need to know before moving to Texas. Stay tuned. I'm Brian White. Welcome to City versus City, where friends, family, and folks like you come to get the latest information on cities and neighborhoods so you can make a great decision on the best place for you to make your move. I'm Brian White, and I am here with my lovely bride, Tisha.
Hello, everyone. Yes, if you don't know already, we do city versus city every week. So make sure you don't miss us at all. Hit the subscribe button, and each week we'll tell you all the awesome things that you need to know about moving to Texas and city versus city.
So this week we're talking about, we're not doing city versus city. This week we're doing state versus state and talking about, a little bit of a change. We're talking about California versus Texas because so many people are moving to Texas from California. We thought we would dive in and talk a little bit about things that people need to know before making such a big move. California to Texas is a pretty big move, so we're going to talk about some things people need to know.
Yeah.
So
all right, what we got first?
Well, as we get started, there's how do we know that people are moving from California to Texas? So we certainly, we have clients, right? We have people that watch these videos and check us out, but people are definitely moving, and they're definitely moving from California to Texas. So first, I've got, because this is super interesting. If you want to start a video and really grab people, I'm showing numbers. Numbers.
You're the numbers guy.
Super interesting, right? Well, 125,000 more people in 2019. Texas was the second highest inbound movement of any state. So Florida was the first. Yeah, people are definitely moving to the beach. Dig it. I'm with them. But if they're not moving to the beach, then the second highest number of people moving in move to Texas.
Yes, go Texas. Woo!
Where, Tisha, do you think was the number one state that people moved from?
Let's see. Let me put on my thinking cap. Could it be California?
It could be California. Let me scroll all the way. I'm scrolling down the list.
Scrolling.
More than 200,000 in 2019. More than 200,000 people moved out of California, then moved in.
Wow,
that's a lot of people. So the LA Times just posted an article that about the exodus because people are looking for less crowded pastures and looking for cheaper spots. So Texas was the number one place for people to move, followed by Arizona and Washington. So lots of people looking for ways to get out of get out of California. So if people are leaving California, if they're leaving California and going to Texas, what are some things that people need to know?
About Texas?
Yes. What are some things they need to know?
Well, okay, so there's so many great things about Texas. Where to begin, Brian? Where to begin?
The one of the places to begin is taxes.
Oh, whoa, yes, that's a huge reason.
We're getting right into it with taxes. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have a state income tax.
Right.
So that's super interesting to know about when you move to the Texas area. You get to keep more money in your pocket because we don't have a state income tax. We have a higher property tax than California does on our houses, but our housing is so much less expensive and no state income tax. So that's awesome.
Well, it's a super big deal, right? So I was reading, and I didn't know this before, but California actually has the highest state income tax of any state in the country. So if you're coming from California to Texas, that's just massive savings where you're going from the highest state income tax to
Yeah.
0, right? I mean, to
Yeah.
the lowest, right? We have the lowest state
Yeah.
income tax because we don't have one. What I think super interesting about that, though, is Texas doesn't have a state income tax for people, for individuals, but we also don't have a state income tax for businesses, which California has both. That's also one of the reasons that so many businesses are moving from California to Texas, because we have a great, thriving economy down here, and and we don't have a state income tax for businesses either. So it's a really big deal.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I mentioned, so there's property tax.
Yeah.
And so our property taxes here are, I'm not, they vary here, and I'm sure they vary a little bit in California, but I think they're, closer to the 1% mark, and we get up close to the 3% mark.
Yeah.
But the great thing about that is you get to choose that. You get to choose what, price point of a house you live in. So you get to choose how much property tax you pay based on what price of house you want. And what you're going to find is, you could sell a, $1.5 million house in California, and you could move here to a $600,000 house, and that may be more than enough for you in this area. And so that can really help you on your property taxes.
Yeah, that's we'll get into cost of living here in a second, but it is interesting how that plays out for property tax, because if you're buying a whole lot more home for a lot less money, then that saves you on both sides of taxes again. So,
yeah.
So pretty great. Well, so
yeah,
now
I like savings.
Yeah, so and the number 2 thing that people need to know is, let's just talk about the different cities. Right, there are a bunch of different. Texas has 4 of the largest cities in the country. There are. I mean, it really is. So Texas is a super big state, but I mean, 4 of the largest cities in the country are in Texas. So
we got DFW. There's San Antonio, Houston. What's the other one for here? Austin.
The state capital. Yeah, the state capital.
It's grown so much lately.
Yeah,
Austin has.
Austin has absolutely exploded over the last couple of years. So. And there's a little bit of something for everybody, right? If Houston is a little bit more of an energy-based economy, but also happens to be just right there on the beach. Galveston now has become a suburb of Houston. Just everything's kind of grown all together. You're within an hour of the beach in Austin. San Antonio has always been more of a military base. It's been built around a military economy. And has been thriving and growing, and it's awesome. And then Austin is the state capital. You obviously live there, and we have family there still have family there.
Yeah. Austin is just a great place to live. Very outdoorsy. Lots of amazing restaurants. Fun place to live for sure. So, when you think about California, though, I mean, California, massive state, of course it has Los Angeles and San Diego. Ooh, I do love San Diego. I really do. So there's that.
Year round. Year round. You love San
Diego.
Year round. San Diego is awesome year round.
Yes, it is. What other big states or cities do they have?
There's LA, San Francisco, Sacramento.
Yeah.
What's super interesting about California, right, is there's a dramatic climate difference if you move from San Diego and head all the way north up to San Francisco.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's such a long, big, long state. I mean, it starts, in the south and just goes way up north there. So where I have a brother who lives there, and he lives in Sacramento. And, that's very different than when he used to live in LA. Very different climate for sure.
Yeah. Texas doesn't have nearly that dramatic a climate difference. You get hot, and then it's just a discussion of how humid is it. So if you're in Houston, super humid, and then it moves all the way up. You move out to El Paso and some areas it's a little more drier and more desert. But there's certainly some beautiful parts of Texas. I would definitely say that in a Texas versus California battle, California wins the beauty battle for sure.
Yeah.
Particularly if we're going city by city, but some beautiful spots, even in the cities. Austin's just a beautiful town. So
yeah, but we're not really gonna. Definitely, California wins in terms of. I mean, we said you said Texas has the beach, which we do have a beach, but
it's not quite the same.
It's not quite the same. I mean, if you've ever visited the two, it's a big difference. So anyway, we love going to California to visit.
Yeah, we love going to California to visit. So number 3, the third thing that you need to know, and this is a big one, that you need to know if you're moving from California to Texas, is the cost of living is dramatically different. It's dramatically different. So I'm going to show here just a study done by NerdWallet. I think just about everybody knows NerdWallet. They their claim to fame was credit cards and just financial advice, and they're great at digging into the numbers. And they've done, we could take a look at a bunch of cities, but they did an analysis of if you lived in Dallas, what would it cost you to move to the LA Long Beach area, and if you made 50 grand in Dallas, you would need to make almost $67,000 to have the same lifestyle. So 30% higher, just in terms of salary, 33% higher cost of living in LA than Dallas.
That is a big number, Brian. I mean,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, there's just so many factors that go into that. I mean, it's not, housing is just one of them. I mean, groceries are more expensive, gas is more expensive, restaurants are more expensive. Restaurants are a heck of a lot better there too in California, but they're more expensive.
So you get what you pay for, is what you're saying in that situation. Okay.
Yes, but no, I mean, so, it's like 30% higher. I mean, that's a shocking number. And so, and a really excellent number to know. That's good information.
Yeah. And what's interesting is, this is based off of I think somewhere it says it's calling the median home price in Dallas as $400K, which is actually a good bit higher than the median is actually more like 270 to 300. So this housing cost is just a huge differential for cost of living between the two areas. Let's just for fun while we're here, let's look at San Francisco.
What that? I mean, whoa!
Ouch!
Whoa!
Ouch! So we're in a post-COVID world, right? In a world where many jobs can be anywhere, right? People can leave San Francisco, and if they're making $90,000 in San Francisco, they can have a same cost of living, relatively speaking, in Dallas for $50K.
It's shocking. I mean, San Francisco, I think, is the most expensive city in the United States to live in, something like that. It's really close. And that, but seeing that number, like hearing that number, wow, that's shocking. I mean, if you $90,000, if you made that here in Texas, that's a really nice income here out in our market.
So San Diego looks like it's fairly similar to LA. It's about 30% more expensive than Dallas. And then Sacramento, this is the last one I'll leave with, relatively affordable compared to the rest of California and relative to Texas. It is more expensive than Texas. So if you're moving out of Sacramento down to Dallas, then you're going to see about 8% cost of living increase. So you're still going to be able to live more affordably in Texas than Sacramento, but those are some of the most affordable numbers that you'll find in the California area.
Well, and here's what Sacramento has that we do not have. They are very close to Napa.
Oh,
I mean, close to Napa.
No.
Aren't they just the closest to Napa? I mean, you could just drive over there for an afternoon. Now you need to take an Uber back. But you could drive over to Napa for the afternoon.
And whatever the cost of living premium is, to need to live close to Napa is worth it. So whatever.
That's right. If that's only 8%, that's like a no-brainer. So anyway, if you love wine and want to be close to Napa, Sacramento might be somewhere
Absolutely a deal.
to think about.
Spot on. So
Yeah.
we're going through a list of 5 reasons that or 5 things you need to know if you're thinking about making a move from California to Texas. So if you're moving to Texas, here's 5 things you need to know. So we've already talked about we've talked about tax, and that there's no state income tax in Texas. That's a massive deal. Talked about the cities. You got Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas, 4 major cities that are fantastic. Talked about the cost of living. So number 4 is the politics are a little different in Texas than they are in California. It's not quite the same political environment.
That's true. That is true. It's a little bit more conservative overall here in Texas than it is in California. I think, California would largely consider themselves a liberal state. And so it's important to know. It's important to know because it could, it has a little bit different feel to it based on, the politics and what you believe in. So it's important to kind of take those things into consideration.
Yeah, we call California the left coast. It's the left coast because, they're out there, the left, the liberals. And Texas is very much a conservative state. And we're not, just to be clear, we're not making a political statement one way or the other. That's just where the politics lie. So we think it's important for everybody to be aligned with their values. And we just want people to know that, folks moving to Texas, it is the politics here are much more conservative. Now, in both places, go ahead.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. I mean, in both places, there's pockets, right? I mean, so if you're, if you're coming from California and a liberal environment is really important to you, Austin might be a better fit for you. It's a little bit
Austin's
more
known for keep Austin weird. So so that totally fits the California mindset. That totally might be a great fit. But state capitals, I think a lot of times are more liberal, and certainly that is, whether it's the University of Texas or just overall being a state capital. Travis County is known for being one of the more liberal spots of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
And then California, similarly, we talked about Sacramento a minute ago, is one of the more conservative places. So people moving either direction, it's just there's pockets everywhere. And you want to find the pocket that's a great fit for you and your lifestyle.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's good information and good for people to just really consider all of those things when they're thinking about making a change.
Yeah. So the last thing that we think is just super important for people to know if they're considering moving to Texas, and that's Texas is known as the friendship state. We are super uber friendly here in Texas.
It is true. I mean, we are known for it, and we've moved so many people into Texas from other states. I mean, and they are always surprised at how friendly it is. I mean, oftentimes, a neighbor will pop by and introduce themselves, or cookies will show up at your door, and people aren't flipping you off when you're driving down the road. I mean,
I do my best.
It happens.
I do my best.
It does happen. But in general, like they're just happy. They're happy to be here. It's sunny all the time here in Texas. Why wouldn't you be happy to be here? It's it's affordable. It's sunny, and people are happy. So,
but we have been talking lately. We've got clients that have become friends that moved down here from Indiana, and they were talking about that. Like, we expected people to be friendly, but I mean, wow. Just how welcoming and how eager people here are to plug you in and get you acclimated and help, right? They want to introduce you to their friends. They want to help you get plugged in, land on your feet. And, just for your experience, your time in Texas, if you ever chose to leave, to be awesome. So we want to make sure that you feel welcome, and we just love it here. We love it here and have for many years. So we,
yeah.
It's a culture.
And I just think, Brian, like, no wonder why, Texas is number 2 on the growth, states in the United States. It's number 2, in terms of people moving into the state. I mean, there's so many amazing reasons to move from California to Dallas, but don't do it, or to Texas. We live in the DFW area, so if you're thinking about the DFW area, call us.
Yeah.
Yes, we want to talk to you about that, and we have agents all over Texas that can help you in all the various areas. And you need to know that you're working with someone who understands the differences and can share them all with you.
Totally right. Totally right. So if you are thinking about making a move, then please feel free to reach out. If you want to learn more about different cities, neighborhoods, and get more information on what's going on in Texas, then first, please be sure to subscribe so you never miss one of our updates. And then stick around to watch one of our other videos. Thanks for joining today, and we will see you there.